Alright, so here's the deal. The World Series of Poker is over. I played 3 events. Almost cashed 3 times, actually cashed 1 time. Major success!
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Now I'm back in California playing my regular cash games, and my friend Mike called me and he said, "Hey, you wanna play the bicycle?" I said, okay. So, let's do it.
Today, I'm playing 2-5 at the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California. I haven't played cash here in a couple years, so we'll see how it goes, and the first significant hand I get is Ace-Jack in the big blind. The first thing I notice is that my table seems pretty tight. A lot of limping, very little 3-betting. I'm definitely going to be the most aggressive person on the table. This hand starts off with 2 limpers, and then the small blind raises to $30. It's a classic spot for me to 3-bet, and I want to see how they react to it. I make it $90 to go. And then something interesting happens. The small blind starts counting out 4 betting chips, but then just makes the call. What? So I'm thinking either A, he has a really strong hand and really debated on 4 betting, or B, he doesn't have that strong of a hand, but he wants me to think he has a strong hand and act with caution. Honestly, I'm leaning toward that second thought, so when the flop comes 3-5-7 and he checks, if I think he wants me to act with caution, I will do the opposite! I bet $90. Unfortunately, he now raises to $200. Okay, I changed my mind. It seems like he does have a really strong hand, doesn't seem like the type to bluff in this spot, and I fold. And he shows pocket kings. All right, moving on, I get Ace-Jack again. Hopefully this time it goes better. I opened $20 from the hijack and only the cutoff calls. Heads up to a flop of 9-9-9. So unless he has a 9 or a pair, I should have the best hand. I go for a small c-bet of $15, and then I take a look at my opponent, and he is completely spaced out.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Eventually he goes, huh? What? $15? Okay, I call. Okay, so if this man actually had a strong hand, I don't think he'd literally be on the moon for 40 seconds in the middle of the hand. I feel like he's just being stubborn now because it was a small bet. So when the turn comes a 7, I'm going to bet again $30. Honestly, I'd prefer just taking it down now, but that's not what happens. He raises to $65. What? The min raise? Okay, there's a chance this guy has a 9, but I have this gut feeling this guy is just trying to make a move on me, either seeing where he's at with a low pocket pair, or maybe even doing this with 2 random cards. I'm about to do something I never do. I min raise the min raiser. I double his raise to $130, trying to represent an overpair here. And this sends him into the tank. But he finds the call. Honestly, if he's calling there, I doubt he's folding the river. The river comes a 3. I check, he checks. I expect him to show a pair, but he shows Jack 10 of clubs for a rivered flush. What? Definitely one of the weirdest hands I've ever played. I don't even know what was happening there, but I don't know, nice hand. Next, I get Ace-8 of diamonds in the big blind. There are 2 limpers and the small blind raises to $30. It's deja vu. This is the same exact situation as the first hand where I 3-bet and he had pocket kings. This time, I'm just going to call in position. The other 2 players fold, and we're heads up to a flop of ace-king-king. He checks blind, which is a very strange move for the pre-flop raiser, and even though I do have top pair, I feel like I'm behind a large chunk of his range. I've been watching him a while, he's a tighter player, so I just check back. The turn is an 8. Now I have a useless 3 pair. He checks again, giving me a little more confidence, but still, my hand is really not that strong on this board. I'm just trying to get to showdown. I check back. The river is a 9. Now he bets $45. I'm hoping this is a bluff, but I honestly feel like I'm no good here. Still, I can't fold top pair to a single bet. I call, and yeah, he shows ace-king for a flopped full house. And I lose yet another one. Can I win a freaking pot? Come on! I'm in for $900 total now. And pick up King Jack of Hearts on the small blind. There's a straddle to $10. The low jack limps and the action folds to me. I'm definitely bumping it up with a very playable hand. I make it $45. Straddler calls, the limper folds, and we're heads up to a flop of Jack, Queen, Deuce, Rainbow. With middle pair and being out of position, I decide to start off with a check, and he checks back. The turn is the 9 of diamonds, bringing a possible flush draw. I'm between betting or checking. I feel like I have the best hand, so I could bet for value. The problem with that is if I get raised, it's pretty disastrous, and I would hate to let go of my hand, especially when I turn extra equity with a gut shot. For that reason, I just check, and he bets $35. It's a small bet. I'm not exactly sure what he's representing, but it seems like a pretty standard call for me. And we're off to a river which comes an ace. It's another card over my jack. I check, but now he bets $80. It's pretty sick. I don't beat much of anything with third pair here, but I'm also trying to make sense of his story. What is he representing? Two pair or something? A rivered ace? So then the other thought creeps into my head. Wait a minute. I think this guy's trying to bluff me. I call. Sure enough, he says, nice call. Boom! Mucks his hand, and I take it down. Next, I look down at pocket aces, the holy grail of premiums. I make it $20 and only the hijack calls. Flop comes ace, queen, 9, 2 diamonds. I flopped a set. Now, top set can be a little tricky because it can be tough getting paid when you block a lot of the strong hands. I start off with a small c-bet of $15 and the hijack calls. So far, so good. The turn is the 6 of spades, bringing a second flush draw. I'm trying to think how I can get the most money. I could bet, but a check raise just might work. If he bets a lot of his draws, or if by some miracle he has two pair or a set, I check, praying for him to bet. And he does. He bets $35. And now, time for the check raise! $120. Unfortunately, he says he has jack, queen, and folds. And that's that. This next hand starts out very interestingly. Before I see my cards, I say,
This is the big one. This is the big one.
and then I have pocket kings.
I got a raise.
After the under the gun limps, I raise to $25, and it's dream scenario. The hijack 3 bets to $75. And here we go. It's perfect. I say I'm gonna have a big hand, I raise. Then I get re-raised. There's all sorts of mental games going on here. I can act like I'm just getting stubborn trying to fulfill some self-proclaimed prophecy, but really, I just have the second best hand in poker. I 4-bet to $200, and he says all in for $675. No way! Snap call. Board runs out. I show my cards, and they are good. Huge pot coming my way. Let's go. Last major hand of the night, I pick up 6-8 of diamonds in the hijack. I raise to $20 and get 2 callers from the cutoff and the big blind. The flop comes 10-8 deuce, 2 diamonds. Pair, flush draw, what more can you ask for? Mwah! I start off with a bet of $30, half pot. The cutoff calls, but then the big blind raises to $100. Holy cow. Now, here's the thing about the big blind. I've seen her raise the flop with a lot of top pair holdings, so she very well could just have a 10. What I haven't seen is how she reacts to getting re-raised. I'm gonna try it. I could potentially have any overpair, any of the sets. I 3-bet to $240. This should look very strong. 3 bets are rare post-flop, and so a 10 should not feel good here. The cutoff gets out of the way, and she takes about a full minute to think. And then goes all in for $865. Well, this is the risk of raising, because now I don't feel good. Oh boy, I mean, the biggest thing I'm scared of are sets, mainly pocket 2s, which at least I have 30% equity against. I guess there's only one thing to do. Math time! All right, so it's $625 more for me to call. If I do call, the total pot will be $1,820. Divide those two numbers and you get 34%. I need to win this at least 34% of the time for it to be a profitable call. Like I said, against a set, I have roughly 30%, not quite enough equity. But does she ever have just a 10? Ace 10, King 10. Does she ever have the nut flush draw? Against those types of hands, I have close to 50% equity. I'm thinking, does she only take this line with a set, or can she have other hands? I'm looking at her. I'm taking a minute goes by, 2 minutes goes by, 3 minutes goes by. I call. Here we go, looking for a diamond. But the turn gives me 2 pair. Still not good if she has a set. The river's a brick, and she has ace 10. Yes, come on! Oh! Woo! I stayed for another hour after that, picking up a few more chips, but nothing crazy. So after a 4-hour session, we book a healthy win. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.